the end of the Sydney Carnival is here this weekend.
It is the twilight of the Sydney Carnival and it ends with a bang with the all-aged. Ripper race. And then it'll be a matter of weeks and we'll be talking about Stradbroke Stars. Queensland Winter Carnival.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Just gets me up and about. But I tell you what, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's look forward only to this Saturday. And what will you be doing this Saturday?
I don't know. You'd probably check out my Ned's profile to see. You might see some recent winners on there as well.
There's been a lot of green ticks recently.
One during the podcast, I might add, which was nice, but you'll have to listen to see. And maybe it's worth just checking it every now and then.
Yes, absolutely. I think so. You can also do everything else that you want with the good people at Ned's. Bet on the win, bet on the police, and bet on all sports as well. There's been some great sport happening recently. We also talk about the tipping comp. Thanks to everyone who got involved. We have joint winners. They're going to have a tip-off this weekend, which is very exciting. Anything else that's got you up and about?
Oh, just life, mate.
How good.
But what is gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
I need to ask you a question. Be curious, Drifters.
Allegron's won the Brisbane Cup, but it's all Antino. Blake Shin, take a bow. Barrakiel, Benny Allen hasn't moved.
Broadside him, bobbed, won the Golden Rose.
Pride of Jenny, trying to find the reserves at the 100. She's 3 in front of Mr. Brightside. It's all too late. Pride of Jenny has run them into the night. Switzerland, a big winner by 2.5 Bellatrix Star.
He's down, Jolly Star. She is a star in the making. Jolly Star bolts in.
It's all Isthmus. She's very smart and fast.
Mate, it's not a bad card this weekend, Randwick. Interesting.
Yep, it's a good card. Good little card. Good way to round off the autumn carnival. And then we set sail for brighter pastures, greener pastures up here in Queensland. It's just around the corner, the Winter Carnival.
I know. And I think there's some black type up in Brisbane this weekend. 4 minutes away. It's actually a handy little race at Doomben today. So I will be dual screening because my guy Sofrado's going around. He can lug weight and he can get through the going. So
Absolutely.
We'll see. But yeah, Randwick, some horses that are kicking off their preparations late. One in particular in the all-aged Antino that I was not expecting to see here.
No, this is always the plan.
You always have to start off somewhere, though, don't you?
You do. And I like it because he's starting off his prep against, the A grade. And then his targets will be a Hollandale and then a Doomben Cup. And depending on how he handles the 2,000 metres, potentially a Q22. So I like that. This isn't he's not being, put into a 1,400 metre race where he's expected to win. All you want to see him is run well, and then, maybe 2,000 metres is right up his alley. We'll see.
We will see. I also see in other news, breaking news today, the 2022, 3 years ago now, Everest champion, Giga Kick.
Shit.
He will headline the Group 1, the Goodwood, in Adelaide.
Yes, I saw that, and I don't know how set weights and penalties work, but apparently he's on the minimum, 54.5 kilos, as a dual Group 1 and Everest winner. He kicks. So it must be, because he hasn't won a race for a while.
All-aged.
Doomben 10,000 and he's won an Everest, yeah.
He would have won some Group 2s.
Surely.
Yeah.
Surely.
That's a handy CV.
Yeah, 13 million prize money. He ran second in Everest last year.
Did he?
Yeah, second to Bella Nips. He ran out of his skin.
That's right. And people were touching themselves over it. And then he didn't quite...
Fiddling.
He didn't quite, finish off, did he? Did he run in, say, what would have been the Think About It stakes?
No, he ran in the champion sprint over 1,200 metres, and I backed him that day. Sunshine in Paris won. And I think it was an end of prep run, even though he had a relatively short prep, because he was fat as a bus first up, if you might remember. Ran a blinder in the Everest, and I think I think it's not D-Day for Gig and Kick, but it's when we find out, hey, is this horse ever going to get back to that level he was at end of 2022 through to sort of mid-2023 before Craig absolutely busted him up first up against Imperatriz.
Pulled a hammy.
Yeah, pulled a hammy and a bit like me, never been the same.
Get back, 77.
Get back, Luka Doncic. I'm really fascinated to see how he goes next week. I hope he brains him.
Hope so. Next week, not quite. 10th of May.
10th of May, my apologies.
So, yeah, looking at that market, he's $2.70 favourite behind Benedetta, Schwartz, Stratton Angel, Growing Empire, Headwall, Climbing Star, Ray Magnerio. It's not a vintage edition.
Is it ever?
Hasn't been for a while. Not since Santa Ana Lane one, I reckon.
Didn't Trekking win?
Probably.
The Goodwood?
Yeah,
He was a
probably.
good horse.
The Goodwood winners. Well,
There wouldn't even be a Wikipedia page for that.
well, all right.
It's not even a
Who's-
race set page for that.
Who's won a race since these winners? Royal Merchant, I don't think's even
No,
placed.
has not.
Lombardo, I don't
Oh,
think
God, no.
so. Savatu XL, now, he's been winning in Darwin, though.
He has.
Like, I think they took him to Melbourne and he was getting brained by about 10 legs. They're like, you know what we'll do? We'll lower the eyes a little bit and go to the Northern Territory. Dispatch, who won at about 40-1, and I reckon they ran that about 25 minutes late that day. And he was the only one that didn't absolutely melt.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Santa Ana Lane, Vega Magic, Blackheart Bart. Like, now we're getting into some winners.
Oh, God. It's just...
Black Caviar.
Yeah, it's just there's a significant lack of respect for the Adelaide Carnival.
Well, when you're that far off the fence every single time...
At least they've got 7 figures prize money for that race now, which is good. But, you know, we've talked about it enough. There's no need to be negative about it, but it's just the reality of the situation is the depth of our sprinting ranks isn't where it needs to be. And it means that the Tier 3 Group 1 sprints like this are going to fall away.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's fine. The Brisbane Winter Carnival's just around the corner. Things will start to heat up. And as per usual, form references galore heading into the spring.
Yes, absolutely. And the weather's finally starting to turn up here. Absolute squirter of a day today.
Squirter.
So good.
Fiddlers and squirters.
All right, race 3 is the first race at Randwick that we will preview.
How's the weather looking for Sydney this week? Fine. Okay, good.
Like a little bit similar to here, a little bit gloomy, but I think it's a top of 28 on
Juicy,
Saturday.
good fall.
Yeah, top of 28. Yeah, so I think it'll be fine. The rail is out 6 metres from the 1,000 metres to the winning post and 5 metres the remainder. So out a little bit, but, you know, Randwick's pretty wide. I think it should be okay. The first race is race 3, the Frank Packer Plate, as they are racing at Doomben. 2,000 metres to Group 3 for the 3-year-olds at set weights. What do you do with Swift Falcon here? 10-horse field, $1.95 with the good people at Ned's. T. Schiller, barrier 7, probably going to be last. What do you do?
Oh, God. If you look at the rest of the field, it's like, well, he's so much better than these, I think.
Is he?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Firm Agreement's been racing well. But after running in a derby and then coming back to this, I'm like, why? And after that, I look at the rest of these and questions have got to be raised. I think $2 for Swift Falcon, like if you're getting that with the good people at Ned's, I understand people have been burnt after last time, but I could entertain that. I think, and then if you do your dodgy again, you're like, never again for Swift Falcon. But you know where he's going to be. I think bet at your own peril, but it's a perilous opportunity that I probably want to find out about.
Perilous opportunity, as my thing needs to pick up. Is to pick up. Show, the one I thought was the danger one.
What number?
Miss Jolene from How's Favourite Bashing. Just trying to continue my favourite bash. But yeah, she wins at $6. Oh, so Freddy's. He runs second.
Oh, no.
Anyway, we'll park that. Yeah, probably Swift Falcon, but I don't know. Maybe Plymouth didn't stay. And if he didn't stay, he was beating 800, but he was leading, and I don't think he really liked doing that. Prior to that, in the Rosehill Guineas, he ran an absolute bottler. Mark Zara retains the ride, and I think there'll be some genuine pace here. Remember what Tenbury Wells did in the Randwick Guineas? Set an absolute ferocious pace.
Ferocious. Feroce.
Yeah. So I think Plymouth, I'm not quite done with him yet, I don't think. Yeah, $6 I'm interested. Looking at Frank Packer Plate previous winners, I don't think it was run last year, as the meeting might have got called off.
Yeah, because the all-aged was the last race of the day, I think.
I believe so.
It was muddy.
Yeah. So 2023 was Osipenko, probably the last time he actually won a race. Mm-hmm. Verona, Senior Toba, who I believe went over to Hong Kong.
He did.
Canane,
wow.
That's the horse that they turned down $3 million for Hong Kong.
Stupid.
And I think they ended up selling him for maybe $80,000.
Always take the money.
Yeah, he went around in a race. Might have been up here, actually, after.
Yeah, I think so. Speaking of always taking the money, Yulong's bought Vinrock. Always take the money.
Always.
Always take the money.
Yeah, especially the might of Yulong, because what did they buy alcohol-free for? Like $15 million or something?
Absolutely absurd. Something absurd. Runner I found interesting was number 10, Miss Alexis. She didn't end up running in the Oaks. I'm not sure if she was scratched or if she didn't make the field, but there wouldn't have been any emergencies in the Oaks. But I thought she ran okay in the Adrian Knox Stakes, which was the Belle de Tel race. She finds herself here at $21, the daughter of Jamaica. Jamie Melamon gets a nice gate. Interesting that she's running. So one for if you're playing wider, I think, Miss Alexis.
Okay. Need to see Swift Falcon do it. Now, the James HB Pencil Car Stakes, 1,400 metres, Group 3 for the 3-year-old fillies at set weights and the penalties. Clean Energy is your $2.50 favourite, probably rightfully so. You were on Lilac last start, though.
I was. She just got pipped on the line, even though she finished third. Craig Williams went a little bit too quick on her early doors, just ran out of puff, but I thought it was a phenomenal run, and she was 5 weeks between runs last start. I really like her here. She gets J-Mac on gate 1. $4.40 with Ned's. Keen to be with her, Lilac. I think it's a good bet this weekend.
Yeah. I noticed number 11's name is Modella, not to be confused with the deli meat Mortadella.
Yes.
Yeah. I had some of that when on my honeymoon last year in Italy.
I'd imagine that you would have. There's a deli down the road from work that sells a nice Mortadella sandwich that I've tried on many occasions. But not to be confused with Modella, the filly in this race.
You know who I thought was a big price in this race?
Who?
Has a winning strike rate of 43%, which is notable. Only been outside of the twice in 7 starts. Snow in May. Found a wet track last start against the older mares as well. Again, like Lekvart, she ran around in Group 1 last week, I'm pretty sure, potentially. There or thereabouts. Like, only beaten 3 lengths there on a heavy track where that's the only time she's seen it. The other times, she's only missed the trifecta once on a good track. Barrier 11 needs a good ride, but she has an absolute throbber on in Zach Lloyd. So I think that Canberra Guineas that she won, I think that form has been pretty dog shit. But I think she might be the exception to the rule. I think she's pretty smart. So happy to kind of see her. And she resumed in a pretty hottish race, like the Eskimo Prince, public attention linebacker. I think she'd be better suited out to 1,400 metres at this stage of her prep against her own sex as well. I think she's probably the forgotten horse.
Yep. No, fair enough. I backed her in the flight stakes against Lady Shenandoah last year. Yeah, $8. Good price.
Yeah. Race 6 is the JRA Plate over 2,000 metres, Group 3. Interesting, as I kind of refresh my screen. Faulkner Park is scratched.
That is interesting.
So I wasn't necessarily with him or against him. I was like, well, is this another LL Kent situation where it's just so obvious?
Yeah, I was keen on him. I was keen on him in this race, even though he was lugging the top weight, just because he had that genuine Group 1 weight for age form. And he's been running well. And then you've got the favourite in the market is NCAP, and he's only run twice in 21 starts. And he ran super in the Doncaster. Is this his first time over 2,000 metres?
Mate, it's his first time over a mile.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm looking at that right now. I thought he's like more your 1,400 metre specialist, NCAP. Who could maybe stretch out to a mile. Like he's only won twice in his career in 21 starts, 1,300, 1,400. And the Capitalists, what can they do? They middle distance horses?
Capitalist, he won a Blue Diamond or he didn't win a Slipper. I think he won a Blue Diamond. So,
Maybe.
Who knows? Horse that I wanted to point out, which is at double figures at the moment with the good people at Ned's, he's coming out of Hawkesbury, so it's a bit of a step up, obviously. Number 14, Flying Bandit for Kerry Parker, noted trainer of Think About It. No, Think It Over. Sorry, still doing that. Gonna be doing that forever.
Well, Think About It Silks. So I can see how you're in you're in a mental pretzel right now.
I am. 4-year-old gelding, relatively lightly raced, but has been travelling through his grades really nicely for Kerry Parker. And the win at Hawkesbury, I think Bro's still pretty green and launched from the back to just win. So this is a massive step up. That was a benchmark 78. Tumbles in weight from 59.5 kilos to 53 kilos. Gets a nice gait. I think Flying Bandit is a horse who's on the up. I don't think he's necessarily a Group 1 horse, obviously, but there's so much exposed form here. So I'm keen to have a look. Other notable one was Klondike, who's the import with J-Mac on for Johnny O'Shea and Tom Charlton. Watch the market there. He's $8.50 if he comes in. He might be ready to go.
He could be ready to go. Please excuse me because I'm getting on the one in the last at Hawkesbury.
Mate, jump on. Look, that's how I see the race with Flying Bandit and Klondike. I think they're the two. Because, the one that are two in the market at the moment, in the sort of $4 mark, NCAP and New Endeavour, and they never went.
I thought there was one that has had that, I guess, more hardened prep as well. It's on my Ned's profile. You'll be hearing this afterwards. On Poppin' Champagne in the last. Mate, it's 8-1 if you wanted to get on.
Poppin' Champagne.
Yeah. In the last at Hawkesbury. Warwick Farm, rather. So
same shit.
I thought Palmetto wasn't necessarily a bad shout. So kicked off its prep, in a handicap against like Highlights and Headley Grange, who, had nice, or Headley Grange at least had a nice winter campaign, or summer campaign rather. But then stepped up 300 metres to the Parramatta Cup, finished second there behind Out Anchorage and Kinesiology, actually beat that gallop at home, and then won the Canberra Cup over 2,000 metres, beating Methuselah and Redstone Well. Carried 58 kilos there. Next start in the Neville Selwood, notably Cheerwolf won that race. Beaten 1.5 lengths on heavy ground, where I think he's arguably better suited on top of the ground. Like at $11, like same silks as who won the Sydney Cup last week?
Oh, Arapaho.
Similar silks as, well, the same silks as Arapaho. Palmetto, Arapaho. I feel like it's almost like a triplet situation going on here again.
Yes.
Like, I could see this horse featuring. I think overlooked. Barrier 6, K-Max due. K-Max been... Oh, where's he been?
Oh, God, he's in a worse patch of form than what he was when I was talking about how bad a patch of form he was in like 2 years ago.
So, I think especially with Faulkner Park out now, I think this race is gettable.
Yep,
so,
absolutely.
Palmetto might be my on-top selection.
Bit of value there for you, Drifters, in that race.
Yeah. Race 7 is the Champagne Stakes, 1,600 metres Group 1 for the 2-year-olds. Set weights. Nepotism, $3.90. The son of Brutal. Are you with him here?
I am. I had a futures ticket for him in the size. He didn't end up running because of the fact that Rose Hill was pushed back a couple of days the other week. Absolutely brained them in the Ballyhoo, if that's how you say it, and looked like a horse who would absolutely yum, eat up 1,600 metres for mine. Nepotism, being the son of Brutal, who won the Doncaster, of course. I really like him here. The big negative is the fact that he's drawn gate 11 and he's in that stable, so you know where he's probably going to be. So you're taking a risk, but I didn't think you'd get nearly $4 with the good people at Neds with Nepotism, and I prefer the form in that race that he was in for this rather than the size form on this occasion.
Well, I reckon it's because he was $3.10 early favourite there. He blew out to beyond $5.
Yeah, I know, it was insane.
Like, it just kept going, and then he won by 1.5 lengths. It's like, if you stuck fat, thanks for the gift.
Yeah, on the tote.
Yeah. So maybe there's a little bit of that going on, like looking at the SP profile, but I think you can't really fault him in his only 2 starts.
Yep, at Randwick, good track for him. Whether he's going to be better over a wet deck in the future, we'll see. But for mine, he's a horse who I think can be aimed at those Caulfield Guineas type of races in the spring. Is he a Cox Plate horse? God knows. Way too soon to say. But, he could be a spring champion type of horse. I think Nepotism, I think he's got some talent the way he finished off that last race, so I'm keen to back him.
Yeah. What's Within the Law doing here? I have a good question.
Yeah.
Like, are we wanting to ruin this horse's career?
Yeah,
or
I thought that was a bit odd.
Like,
yeah.
you know who it reminds me of a little bit?
Who?
Away Game. They absolutely throttled her as a 2-year-old.
They did, yeah.
They ran her in everything.
And she didn't come good for a long time.
No, she took her about 2 years. So it's like, especially 2-year-olds, especially one that's run through a fence.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, and she has a soft spot for me, and I would absolutely love her to win. But regardless, I thought I can't possibly have her on top here.
No.
I can have buffalo sauce on top though.
The big buff.
I think the big buff's been looking for a while.
Since he debuted.
Yeah. Well,
since he was born.
Well, this is the thing, right? So, and I first backed this horse in the Golden Slipper. Now, that obviously didn't eventuate, but off his debut run at Newcastle over 900 metres. So it's like that was on the 11th of November last year.
But even the fact that he's in this race at $6.50, like, you had a good enough eye to suggest that, like, this horse is good enough to run in Group 1s as a 2-year-old, and here he is.
Mate, he lost to Vinrock by less than half a length.
He did.
Like,
what price do you think Vinrock would be if he was in this race? Do you think he'd be favourite?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be odds on. I reckon he'd be like 280, 290.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'd say so. Poppin and Champagne needs a run here.
Come on, Poppin.
Poppin's got a run, and it's come down the middle with a rate of knots. And I believe that's her. I reckon that is me winning by about three lengths at $8. The J-Mac favourite ran last. Poppin' Champagne, you beauty.
How's that? 8-1
on the profiles as well.
Oh, look at.
So,
life's easy,
mate. That was a piece of piss. I'm a tips, not slips guy.
Live recording.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, Buffalo. Like, I think he's just better suited out to the mile based on his runs. He's always been hitting the line quite well. What would it do to the industry? Because what's the last time a 2-year-old gelding has won a Group 1?
Oh God, it'd be the JJ. Like it'd be like a Converge or something like that. Rothfire. Yeah,
Converge would have been a
Colt still,
I reckon.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that was one of the best 2-year-old wins we've seen. I reckon.
Yeah, turn his foot on a dime and just went bang.
That was fucking jam.
That was absolute jam. Mate, got a mortgage on the JJ. We would have picked the winner of the last
since we've probably been doing the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some races.
Some races.
What's the sprint? The Furphy sprint. We've been over this.
Got a mortgage on that race.
Anyway, Buffalo on top for me at $6.50. I did find it interesting that Jason Klett has this ride. He's not on Within the Law. So he must have committed to ride Buffalo because he rode him when he won at Newcastle.
Right.
Not last start, the start prior. And he's obviously been the consistent rider for Within the Law who has K-Mac on.
He's been riding well. Jesus Christ. Yeah. State Visit's the other one, but it's $7. So I think the market's pretty much right, to be honest.
Yep. All right. The All Age. This is a cracker.
Good race.
This is a fantastic edition. I think it's been a pretty good edition for the last few.
Yep.
1,400 metres, Group 1 at weight for age level. Briasa. Egg on our face a little bit.
Massively.
$3.80 favourite. Has he won over the 1,400 metres?
Has never gone over 1,400 metres. Furthest he's gone was 1,300 metres.
In the Hunter. 3 wide, no cover there.
Good win.
So does that translate? Does that maketh an all-age stakes winner?
It's a good question. Look, I'm prepared to eat the egg that's on my face with Briasa because he's drawn a good gate here and he brained them in the TJ. And what did I talk about with the TJ from a map perspective and a race shape? There was absolutely no pace. And he was the one who was talking Overpass. Overpass was unlucky not to win. For me, there's no reason why Briasa can't be in the first 3 or 4 horses again. Get the gun ride, and there was nothing to suggest that 1,400 metres wouldn't suit. So I feel like a bit of a dickhead because I talk smack against Briasa in the TJ. But I think that was warranted at the time. But from what I saw last start, I think he can win this with a nice gate.
Especially because a lot of these girls are giving you the ick.
They are. They really are. They're mixing their form way too much, and I don't think they're, go through the list. Girls, Sunshine in Paris hasn't come up as well this prep, and she's drawn wide. I think she's a horse who needs to draw a gate.
She never draws gate. She has a bit of the fangirls about her.
Yep. Magic Time, she wouldn't shock, but I also haven't been impressed with her the last 2 starts. Jolly Star, I can't catch this girl. Wouldn't surprise me if she comes up and wins this, but I can't have her. Komachi, I actually think wouldn't shock. I think she could run well here over 1,400 metres from gate 10. Needs a Nash special. Benedetta, big fan of this girl. She ran well in the William Reid against the track bias for Given the Newmarket, and she ran well first up. I don't think 1,400 metres is her go. I think she's a 1,200 metre horse. She should be. She should have been saved for the Doom 10,000, or probably better off being in Adelaide. So that's them. They're mixing their form too much. Whereas Brias is a bit untapped and only third up here as well, which I think is key. Like, has more in the tank, in my opinion. The other horse I want to talk about is Broadsiding. He's $6.50 at the moment. Coming back from 2,000 metres from a Rosehill Guineas, he's trialled since, but to 1,400 metres weight for age on a dry deck, sweet draw, but I think you'd have to find a length for me to win this. Maybe 2 lengths. Particularly, coming back from 2,000 metres, I think that's a bit of an ick for mine.
Don't know what he's doing here.
Yeah.
Like, he's only been against Open Age, once? In the
Twice Cox Plate, and then in the Champions Mile the next week, and he absolutely failed. You can't tell me that this is the grand final for him. The Rosehill Guineas.
I completely forgot about that he raced in the Champions Mile. So he started at $8 there.
Yeah.
Second last, beating 6 lengths.
Yeah. That was an end of prep run for him. And that was his 4th up run. This is his 4th up run here.
The only horse he would have beaten home, I'm assuming, is Pride of Jenny.
Probably. I think people probably be looking at his Golden Rose win first up.
Springtime. In
the spring and thinking, well, if he runs to that, he's very competitive here. But I think that's been his best run. I don't think he's ran better since that. He ran 3rd in that Cox Plate, but he was entitled to. There was so much pace on, and he came from the back, and he only ran 3rd. And he was still brained.
What, 10 lengths? 12 lengths?
And how's the form out of the Golden Rose?
Yeah.
So for mine,
Actually.
I think the $6.50 for broadsiding, I'm like, well, there's others at a bigger price I'd much rather have. Other horse I want to quickly talk about is Jimmy Star from Gate 6. He just needs to sit closer. He wouldn't shock me at all, Jimmy Star, but he needs to sit closer and he can from Gate 6. But I'm keen to be with Briasa, and I think Antino will run well. That's how I'm seeing the race.
Yeah. What's the best? Is the Newmarket win our best? That's the best that Jolly Star's gone, right?
I think so. I think her Newmarket win is comparable to that first up win she had in the toy show, I think, in the spring last year. I think they're probably her best two, and they're outliers. Everything else she's done, she's been disappointing.
Okay. Maybe she doesn't like being inside horses. Maybe the draw that she has, barrier 9, where she has more opportunity to actually get outside and find her own way.
I see what you mean. I disagree. I think what she needs is a truly run race. Didn't get that in the TJ. Got that in the Newmarket. Don't think she gets it here.
You don't?
I don't think so. I don't think that there's like a bunch of early speed. You're probably going to have Belclair and Magic Time and Komachi leading. They're not tearaway leaders.
Belclair, potentially. I think she's pretty toey.
Yeah,
she has some toe.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a truly run race. Mate, the tempos in Sydney last week were just ridiculous for the most part, except for of all the races, the Sydney Cup. What the hell? When it gets to these Group 1s, there's just not enough pace in them to. You need to draw a gate. You need to be close.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Probably sets up so well for Briasa, doesn't it?
It does, and that's why I feel like a bit of a dill being keen on him for this, but I am keen on him for this.
Makes sense.
And close to $4 to find out. Like, that's a bet for me.
Yeah. What price did Jolly Star start in the $3.30 favourite?
The TJ?
Yeah. I feel like that's significant.
Yep.
She got absolutely jammed in the Newmarket.
Market really likes her because she's got those two performances which put this field away. But she doesn't get to that point frequently enough for mine.
Yeah, I've kind of pulled the right rein with her.
Yeah.
I backed her in that toy show.
Yep. Same.
I then got on Sunshine in Paris's back.
Yep.
The next start when she went under at about $1.50, $1.60.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Mate, you've gotten your money from her, absolutely. You backed her in the Newie.
Yeah.
We backed her in the Arrowfield Sprint as well, and that was her only race.
You did. I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I was on Hedge, who she knocked off.
Oh, fuck. Hedge.
Yeah. So we've found her over the journey. I don't mind her here.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be shocked by her at all.
Yeah.
I can't. She's too inconsistent for me to. I should probably bet on her every start. I probably should. Like, she's $6.50.
Yeah.
She'll jump $4.80.
Yeah.
That's how much the market likes her.
Considering like how disappointing she was last start, like she was only beaten 2 lengths. Now she was back into 9th there, which I think more shows the quality and what you're talking about in the lack of quality of that race. But I feel like she can improve, and 1,400 metres for her, I don't think is as a potential negative as it is for Briasa potentially.
Yep.
And I'm getting a better price, $6.50. Happy to find out at that price for Jolly Star. And all right, race 9 is the Ned's Hallmark Stakes over 1,200 metres, Group 3, set weights and penalties. I thought this was very tough. Like, where do you even look?
Oh, I don't know.
What is it, 550 the field? Zarastro, the Queensland visitor for Tony Gollan, so just the travelling companion, or is Antino the travelling companion this time?
Might be.
I know you hate the stable, as you rightfully should, but General Salute is in a bit of form.
Yep.
But rises 5 kilos from last start.
It does.
And it's set weights this race.
It does. I don't know what to do with this race. Like, you got $5 the field, and you've got horses like Marzu, Ostraka, Royal Merchant, who you aptly mentioned. like this. I'm trying to find horses in great form, and it's tough to find. Libertad first up, I think, hasn't raced for nearly a year. Is probably one I just want to keep an eye on at $26. If there's a bit of specking for it from a nice gate, I could probably entertain it. I've went and watched its trials, and its trials were okay. So a race like this, when it's just complete dross, I'm just going to probably spec one at big odds. So Libertad for mine, just want to keep an eye on it. Yeah, it's still got its nuts, actually, interestingly enough. But, zero confidence.
I've narrowed it down to 2, and they're basically the same price. They're both drawn absolutely dross. Basically, just the weight swing that they have on General Salute. I think I could easily see that being the same trifecta here.
Yeah.
Just different order with Dragonstone and Ostraka. Yep. Ostraka finally showed something last race. But to be fair, the 2 starts prior to that being the Oakley Plate and the Newmarket, not his races at all.
Yeah, I thought he's been really weirdly placed this prep. I thought he'd be a horse who should have probably started off in the all-age and headed towards a Stradbroke. That's what I thought for Ostraka. Aimed a little bit too high.
Yeah. So back in grade, which is a very similar grade here around Group 3 level, like he was only just knocked off by General Salute last start, and he gets a 5 kilo weight swing on that horse. So I think Ostraka is a really easy bet to have, I think. He was on soft ground there. He should improve on a good track as well. Dragonstone is just a horse that keeps trying.
Yep.
Just your typical Joe Pride horse. Tough to get past, but hard to catch off, I find.
Gee, he's got a lot of Group 3 sprinters, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He really does. So Dragonstone's the other one. Just not as good from the draw either, but I think those 2 horses will be fighting this out. Probably Team Ostraka.
Yep, fair enough.
Over the other. That's about it, really.
I just want you to quickly cast your eyes and tell me what your thoughts are over the Mornington Cup.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I just want
Sorry.
the first thing that comes to mind. So we're going to Mornington, we're going to race 8.
Hey, you win and you're in.
True.
The Caulfield Cup.
True.
And every single one of these horses that get in, they start 50 to 100 to 1.
They do.
In the Caulfield Cup. So it doesn't really have any significance. Mornington Guineas, is this where we first or second saw Sunshine in My Pocket and she went down last year?
Sunshine
in my pocket?
In my pocket, maybe.
I reckon.
Maybe.
I have a feeling.
Can't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, the Mornington Cup. Oh, God. Just Fine, Key Tempesta.
Yep.
Smokin' Romans,
Yep.
Banker's Choice, Young Werther,
Yep.
Berkshire Breeze, Virtuous Circle, Strawberry Rock, Night Endeavour, Spaycaster. That is disgusting areas.
Is this not the most listed race you've ever seen in your life? That's immediately what I thought.
No, there's a benchmark 100 that is ending the day in Sydney. That is what this is.
I gave it a little bit more credit. I looked at it, I was like, this is the most listed race I've ever seen. Because I think there's some here that are slightly better than benchmark 100, but most of the field is benchmark 100.
Yeah. You know, he's in a rich little vein of form, and it's taken him a while, and he's been one of Richo's for a long time, is Banker's Choice. I can see him winning this, barrier 3, pretty much go forward and go like, see you later. Although Just Fine's probably going to lead up this field, isn't he?
I wouldn't be surprised if Just Fine pops up in a race like this.
He won at Moonee Valley, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. It led the entire way to get into the Cup.
Buck Cummings at Flemington, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
He ran last in the Cup.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's right. We saw him run last in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup where Akuti Sushi won. Gee, I've found some winners over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Banker's Choice potentially. I was on Berkshire Breeze last start and I was fuming that Deacon got the JD.
Clearly the 2 best horses in that race.
I always get sucked in and have a look at Virtuous Circle, and I look at the weather because if it's bottomless, he has a chance, but he's only seen it 3 times in 18 starts. So
lucky, bruh.
What about young Werter?
Oh, he could pop up in a race like this.
Is it nearly time for him? I don't know.
He's a 20-year-old gelding, so it might be. I thought Berkshire Breeze was probably a worthy favourite in this race because he's the reason why I said it's a listed race, because I think there's something like Just Fine's he's a Group 1 winner, you've got to remember. Smoke and Romans is a Group 1 winner, you've got to remember. So for mine, it is the definition of a listed race, and I think Berkshire Breeze can win.
Okay. Yeah. Has Keith Tempesta won a Group 1 over in Italy or something? Or no, he's running one. But that was probably here.
He's been running okay.
Yeah. But I'll take your point. Tipping competition.
Of course. Thanks for the reminder. So, Drifters, tipping comp. Thank you so much to everyone who partook in the tipping competition. It's been tied, I guess. It's a draw at the top by Cooper Corliss and Josh Bunny. So well done, gentlemen. Got in touch with both of the guys and said, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to split the winnings or do you want to do something weird and exotic? And they took the weird and exotic route. So we'll hold them to that. And what we're going to do is have a tip-off this Saturday. And we're not just going to do the Group 1s. We're going to do the entire card. So same situation, 3-2-1, 6 points if you find something at double figures with the good people at Ned's. Whoever has the most points at the end of the day will win the $1,000 cash. Obviously, if for whatever reason they draw, we'll just split it because we're not going to do it again. So wish the gents good luck. Well done to them both for performing so well across the tipping competition. And thanks again to everyone who got involved. Really appreciate it.
Well said, mate.
Thanks.
Real winner-takes-all situation.
Winner takes all. It's free to enter. What do you expect? You're going to get paid down to 8th like that massive Masters competition? No.
Speaking of, well done. Team Rory. What is Rory's victory and his meltdown, but he still won? What is that in equine terms?
It's like Lonhro winning the Australia Cup.
Yeah. Lonhro.
But he never really looked the winner at Lonhro until he actually won.
Yeah.
Whereas Rory looked the winner for a long time, then he didn't, then he did again, then he didn't, and then he actually did. Gee whiz, that's theatre, isn't it?
Oh, it was good stuff.
As a non-golf guy, I was glued to it.
Oh, mate, they're calling it the best Masters in history. Mate, some of the, like, that, what would I be? I'm like a 15 handicapper, right?
Yeah.
On my way to single handicap. So that's my journey.
It's a worthy journey to have.
So you could say our paths are quite different.
Yeah.
Right? But that chip that he missed, I think it was on 13, where he missed his target by 30 metres for a pro.
That's pretty fucked.
That's fucked because he took the conservative route. But then I think it was the next hole, he hit that snap hook. Maybe it was 2 holes later. And he landed it like within like 2 metres. It's like, holy fuck. That is just next level shit.
Yeah.
Like just the talent that he has is insane. But then he missed the putt there too. It's like, what is this roller coaster, Rory? Oh, yeah. And poor Justin Rose. Oh, my God, dude. So I don't know if you saw it. I was glued to it basically the entire weekend. But so he's led the most in Masters history without winning.
No.
Yeah. So I think he's done it. After that, after the 4th day, probably be 11 rounds, I think, that he's led at the Masters. Yeah, he's finished second 3 times now, I think. Second playoff he's lost.
That sucks.
And both times it's been to first-time winners and, like, older guys on the tour as well. So Sergio Garcia, who's, like, pretty similar to Rory in a way, where just perennial loser in the majors. And then he goes in and wins the Masters in a playoff against Justin Rose, who's like just like father time, basically. Just consistent. Always goes on the European versus American President's Cup or something, whatever it is. And he always, like, you hate to play against him because he basically always wins. And then he turns up in majors, plays really well, and he just sneaks into the field. But then he finished second in the British Open last year. And he got like the last entry in.
Bro just turns up.
Oh,
grand finalist, grand final player.
Yeah. So poor Justin Rose, mate.
Unlucky, bro.
Sucks. Yeah. But yeah,
That's rugby league though.
Well done to Rory, and watch him go on like a biblical run now.
Yeah,
the monkey's off the back.
The weight off the shoulders. Oh, pure, and just the footage of him walking back up, just
in tears, mate.
Oh man,
Yeah.
just probably more relief than anything else.
Yeah.
Thank fuck.
Yeah, mate. He was like, "I'm on my way to get a green jacket." It's like, well done.
Good on you, bro.
All right, we'll be back on Sunday.
See you, drifters.
See ya.